Good evening. Tonight, we're tracking major stories across the US and the world. The Trump administration's climate policy reversal sparks fierce debate. Newly unsealed Epstein court documents reveal more high-profile names, intensifying public scrutiny. A new poll shows American optimism at a historic low, raising concerns for the nation's future. Overseas, US airstrikes in Syria respond to a deadly ISIS ambush. In Congress, the Epstein Transparency Act ignites controversy as lawmakers name names on the House floor. European allies voice growing unease about US politics after the Munich Security Conference. And at home, backlash grows over the administration's review of national monuments, pitting conservation against economic interests. Let's break down these complex, far-reaching stories. The Trump administration has taken a dramatic turn in US climate policy, marking a significant departure from the previous administration's approach to environmental regulation and climate change. In a series of high-profile moves, the administration has rolled back key Obama-era climate regulations, including those designed to limit greenhouse gas emissions and promote cleaner energy sources. President Trump's executive order specifically targets rules that restrict carbon emissions from power plants and vehicles, two of the largest sources of pollution in the country. The administration argues that these changes will reduce regulatory burdens and encourage economic growth. Supporters of the rollback, particularly those in the fossil fuel industry, believe these actions will boost domestic energy production, create new jobs, and revitalize struggling communities that depend on coal, oil, and gas. However, environmental groups and scientists warn that reversing these policies is a dangerous setback. They argue it could accelerate climate change, worsen air quality, and threaten public health, especially for vulnerable populations. The move is expected to trigger a wave of legal challenges from states and environmental organizations who are preparing to fight the rollbacks in court and defend existing climate protections. Internationally, many US allies and global leaders see this as a retreat from America's traditional role in leading the fight against climate change, raising concerns about the future of international climate agreements. While the coal, oil, and gas sectors may benefit from relaxed regulations, the renewable energy industry could face new hurdles, with investments in solar and wind projects potentially slowing down. The administration's pivot could not only slow the growth of clean energy, but also impact thousands of jobs in the renewable sector, raising questions about the future of America's energy workforce. The long-term effects of these policy changes on the US economy and the global climate remain hotly debated, with experts divided over the potential costs and benefits. This policy shift has reignited a passionate national conversation about how to balance economic growth with environmental responsibility, and what kind of legacy the US will leave for future generations. As the world watches closely, America's choices in climate policy are set to influence not just its own future, but the global effort to combat climate change for years to come. Major developments tonight in the Jeffrey Epstein case. A federal court has unsealed new documents, revealing more high-profile names linked to Epstein. The files include flight logs, calendars, and witness depositions, raising new questions about powerful connections. For survivors, this release is a step toward long-awaited transparency. Prosecutors are reviewing the documents for potential new charges. The revelations have reignited public outrage and demands for accountability. Some names remain redacted for legal reasons, but the story is far from over. The unsealing process continues, promising more revelations in the weeks ahead. The full scope of Epstein's network is only beginning to emerge. A new Gallup poll shows American optimism at its lowest point ever. Few believe the next generation will be better off, reflecting deep anxiety across all demographics. Economic uncertainty, political division, and concerns about crime and healthcare drive this pessimism. Experts warn that declining optimism could slow innovation and economic growth. Social cohesion may suffer as people withdraw from community life. The issues fueling this mood are complex and entrenched, with no easy solutions in sight. Political leaders face mounting pressure to restore hope and unity. The poll is a stark reminder of the urgent need for leadership that can inspire confidence. Without a turnaround, pessimism could become a self-fulfilling prophecy. The nation's mood is a critical challenge for the future. In a significant escalation, the US military has launched a series of precision airstrikes against ISIS targets deep within central Syria. These strikes, carried out by advanced fighter jets and coordinated with intelligence assets, mark a renewed effort to dismantle the remnants of ISIS's network in the region. The operation comes in direct response to a deadly ISIS ambush near the historic city of Palmyra, where Allied Syrian soldiers were killed in a surprise attack. The ambush highlighted the ongoing danger posed by ISIS, even after years of territorial losses. US Central Command quickly identified and targeted ISIS command posts, weapons depots, and training sites. The goal: to disrupt the group's ability to plan and launch future attacks, and to send a message that such violence will not go unanswered. Despite losing most of its territory, ISIS has adapted, shifting to guerrilla tactics and remaining a persistent insurgent threat. The group continues to recruit fighters and stage attacks, exploiting instability in the region. Small mobile ISIS cells now operate in remote, hard-to-reach areas, launching hit-and-run attacks and then vanishing into the harsh desert landscape. Their knowledge of the terrain gives them a dangerous advantage. The area around Palmyra has become a hotspot for ISIS activity, with frequent clashes reported and increased military patrols, trying to contain the threat. In response, Washington has reaffirmed its commitment to defeating ISIS, emphasizing close coordination with regional partners and allies. Diplomatic and military leaders are working together to share intelligence and resources. The latest operation sends a clear and unmistakable message: the US will act decisively and swiftly against any terrorist threats that emerge, wherever they may be found. Syria's landscape remains deeply fractured and volatile, with numerous armed factions and foreign powers vying for influence. The ongoing conflict creates fertile ground for extremist groups to regroup and launch new offensives. The latest US strikes underscore the immense challenges of achieving lasting peace in Syria. Each new attack is a reminder of the fragile security situation and the long road ahead. For ordinary civilians, daily life remains overshadowed by violence, displacement, and uncertainty. Many families continue to struggle for safety and basic necessities amid the chaos. The fight against ISIS is far from over, as the US and its partners adapt their strategies. The mission to defeat terrorism and restore stability in Syria continues with determination and resolve. A heated debate erupted in Congress over the Epstein Transparency Act. The bill seeks to declassify all government files related to Epstein. Supporters argue transparency is essential for justice and accountability. Congressman Ro Khanna named high-profile individuals from unsealed documents, sparking controversy. Critics warn this could unfairly damage reputations without due process. The debate exposes tensions between transparency and the presumption of innocence. The bill's future is uncertain as lawmakers weigh privacy against public interest. The House prepares for a pivotal vote on how to handle sensitive information. At the recent Munich Security Conference, a gathering that brings together top officials from across the globe, European leaders openly voiced their growing anxiety about the current state of US politics and its impact on the international stage. The atmosphere was noticeably tense, with many leaders expressing deep concern about the direction of American democracy and the unpredictability it brings to global affairs. Allies are increasingly worried that the intense polarization within the United States, along with frequent and abrupt policy shifts between administrations, is undermining America's long-standing reputation as a reliable global leader. This uncertainty makes it difficult for European nations to plan for the future and to coordinate on critical issues. Recent US decisions on climate agreements and international trade have only fueled these concerns, as European officials see these moves as signs of an unpredictable foreign policy that could change dramatically with each election cycle. This unpredictability has left many allies questioning whether they can count on the US to honor its commitments. As a result, European officials are increasingly discussing the need for greater self-reliance in security and defense matters. There is a growing sense that Europe may need to take more responsibility for its own security rather than depending so heavily on American leadership. The unity of NATO, the cornerstone of transatlantic security, is now at risk if trust in the US commitment continues to erode. Some fear that divisions within the US could spill over into the alliance, weakening its effectiveness at a time of rising global threats. In response, some European nations are actively considering new security arrangements that would operate independently of the United States, exploring ways to strengthen their own defense capabilities and forge new partnerships within Europe. The latest report from Munich serves as a wake-up call for Washington, highlighting the urgent need for the U.S. to address its internal divisions and restore confidence among its allies. America's domestic divisions are no longer just a national issue. They are having real and immediate consequences for global alliances, affecting how the world perceives and interacts with the United States. Rebuilding trust with European allies will require more than just diplomatic reassurances. It will demand a consistent and stable foreign policy, as well as genuine efforts to heal political rifts at home and demonstrate unity on the world stage. Ultimately, the future of the Western alliance may hinge on America's next steps. The choices made in Washington in the coming months and years will shape not only transatlantic relations, but also the broader balance of power in the world. The Trump administration's review of national monuments is facing fierce backlash. The review questions whether past designations have hurt local economies by restricting land use. Environmental groups, native tribes, and conservationists argue shrinking monuments threatens heritage and biodiversity. Protests and legal challenges are mounting, especially in the American West. Republican leaders support the review, citing economic opportunity and states' rights. Opponents say these lands are national treasures vital for tourism and recreation. The debate has divided communities and highlighted deep cultural and economic rifts. The future of America's public lands hangs in the balance. That's our summary of today's major news for February 10, 2026. We covered the Trump administration's climate and monument policies, the latest in the Epstein case, and record-low American optimism. U.S. airstrikes in Syria and European concerns over U.S. politics show the global impact of domestic decisions. The Epstein Transparency Act debate highlights the struggle between justice and privacy. Each story is ongoing, with lasting consequences for the nation and the world. We'll continue to follow these developments closely. An informed public is vital for democracy, and we're committed to clear, factual reporting. Thank you for joining us tonight. Stay engaged, stay informed, and good night.